Imagine working on something that you have been thinking for quite some time and finally seeing it come to life. I've finally done it. I've done something that I've always been dreaming about, but never really had the courage to do it. Let's talk about it. Hi everyone, I am Parmita. I'm an artist who is constantly on the verge of trying to understand what our being is and what makes us tick. I've been on this journey for so long, and through this process, I've learned so much about myself, about all the internal systems that operate within us that we can't see, how our mind works. And through all of these experiences, I was really inspired to create an art print series around mind, body, and spirit connection. My intention with this series is to create something that helps us lean on something that is a lot bigger than us, or believe in our own power and give us a sense of empowerment. And yeah, I can't believe that I have finally released these prints. I've been putting my heart and soul into them with lots of good energy in hopes that the messaging behind it translates outwards and it is a form of inspiration for people who have it on their walls. I have it right here. I'm going to talk a little bit about each of these prints and the thought process behind it. Let's first dive into mind, as that is pretty much what paints everything that we have around us, our perception, and how we truly see the world. The very first art piece under the mind section, called Essence. This one is all about our egos. Our egos are not necessarily bad for us, but a strong attachment to it can have negative effects, because then it's taking you away from truly experiencing or learning the lesson that your current reality has for you. Let's think about it for a second. Think about all the people that you have met in your life, or the people that you know. Every single one of them will have a completely different impression of you. In fact, you will have a completely different impression of yourself than how you might be presenting yourself outwards. All of these different versions and facades might get in the way of truly experiencing what your authentic inner self wants to show up as. A lot of these masks that we put on is really based on our experiences that we've had in the past. It's all based on a subconscious programming on how it constantly takes information from a surrounding, and as soon as something is very close to a similar negative pattern in the past, all of a sudden there's a protective mechanism that comes out, and it is a version of a mask that it puts on for you to protect from going through the same emotions that you had gone through in the past. The protection most times can look like anger, judgment, jealousy. It could be good emotions as well, but these emotions usually surface is because there's an aspect of your ego that got triggered based on the reality that it was presented with. But my whole intention behind this art piece was to remind you that you are not that. You're a lot more than that, where there is such a beautiful, truest essence of the universe inside of you. And once you allow that version to come out, it's really beautiful. It's like a truest essence of really being, and that was really my intention behind the art piece of Essence. Is while we may have certain attachments to all these different masks that we put on our faces on our daily basis, depending on who we're interacting with, but as we slowly break them down, as we slowly understand why we put on those masks and shatter them, more and more our truest essence, our truest spirit comes out. That needs no validation, needs no protection. It just wants to be. Now, it's not easy to embody that aspect because life is hard. A lot of things comes our way, and it's not always easy to have control over our egos. So that's where a lot of our positive self-talk comes into play, which segues into my next art piece that I created as part of the Mind series, which is called I Am. And this art piece is all about believing and using these words to embody and rewire your subconscious to believe that you are powerful, you are more than what your limiting beliefs, and you can do everything that you set yourself up for. Know that every single thought process that we have is about 95% of it is our subconscious. So unless we actually get to the root of why we have those certain thought patterns, why we think the way we think, those loops, the subconscious loops, will constantly keep repeating itself, and you'll constantly keep getting triggered, and your ego versions will keep coming out the way that you don't want to present yourself. It's very easy to fall into the trap of a negative mindset and all the typical loops that our subconscious constantly keeps playing. But as soon as you replace those thoughts and understand where they're coming from with something positive, because what you feed your mind is what your mind absorbs. By consciously framing positive thoughts into our mind, we can really alter the way we have all these negative subconscious programming that runs in our mind. And that was really my intention behind creating this art piece, as a way for us to feel empowered through positive self-talk. And it's a way for us to truly believe and embody certain things that our mind is telling us that we are not. While our mind is so important in the way we feel and we think and how we perceive our world, our body is equally, if not even more important. Our body stores so much trauma, so much memory, that you might not even be able to recollect yourself, but our body remembers. With this, I will segue into the body portion of my print series, and the very first art piece is Impermanence. So this art piece was a direct inspiration from my experience doing Vipassana meditation. I will not go too deep into talking about Vipassana itself. I'll save it for another video. But really, the whole aspect of this meditation was to observe your body, observe all the sensations without any reaction to it. There are times when you're sitting for hours and meditating in silence, you may feel certain energies, you may feel lots of pain in your back, your knees, your legs, everywhere, but the whole intention of the practice is that you're just observing them. You're observing them until you're not reacting to them, because what is pain ultimately? They're just rapidly vibrating energy that is together forming the sensation of pain. And honestly, there was a point where during Vipassana, I did reach a state where I was like, oh my God, I can't sit anymore. I need to move. I need to, it's getting too painful. In that moment, when I paused and I actually took the time to observe the sensations, is when all of a sudden the pain just disappeared. And that's where the realist power of truly observing and not reacting to emotions and to your negative bodily sensations that you may have, because ultimately it's all going to go away. Everything is impermanent. And that was really my inspiration behind this art piece, is that, you, as you're somatically removing all the parts, all the trauma, all the pieces of you that has gone through something, know that while you're in the process, you're also being held, you're also being supported. So it's really trusting and allowing your emotions to flow through for you to somatically work through those emotions that's stored in your body. Embracing impermanence also helps let go of attachments, helps us let go of negative attachments to anything or being averted by anything that is unpleasant. And ultimately, at the end of the path is true peace that you feel by not reacting to it. My intention behind creating this art piece was a piece to be a form of a reminder where while you're going through this whole process of working through your traumas and healing and releasing somatically the things that are not serving you anymore, while you're releasing them, slowly but surely you peel different parts of yourself and you get closer and closer to your truest essence that's inside of you. And it's really a very beautiful experience once you start feeling um, the energy that you are on the inside. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I wanted to create this art piece as a reminder of that, as a way for us to feel that we're heavily guided and you're being held while you're going through this process. And if this piece wasn't enough, I wanted to create another piece that was really a way for me to really embody the whole concept of eternal guidance. With this, I will segue into my next piece, Surrender and Trust. So this art piece was really all about trusting and surrendering. I know the whole path of understanding different parts of yourself and working through your traumas, understanding more about yourself, it can get very challenging. It can also get very lonely because while there are different parts of you that is being uncovered, um, and as you're stepping into a whole new version, you're a lot of the times in the middle of both worlds where you don't resonate with the past and you don't resonate for the version that is yet to come. And that path, or just honestly any of those three paths, do feel quite lonely. And in those moments, there's nothing more you can do other than surrendering yourself to something that is a lot bigger than you. And that was my whole intention behind creating this art piece, as a reminder of going all in with your emotions, feeling it, releasing them, embodying them, um, with the trust that it is all going to be okay. It is so important to surrender and allow your body to take over and release what it has to. Um, a lot of the times, the things that our mind is telling us, I actually don't trust a lot of the stories that it tells us, but a lot of the time, the things that your mind is telling, a lot of it is not the truth. Sometimes it's your body that is experiencing it that can be the truest of the truth. Um, and it's all about trusting it, feeling it, embodying it, and trusting that you're being held while you're going through this process. While we are seeking and surrendering and trusting the process, I'm going to segue into the spirit section of my mind, body, and spirit art prints. And with that, I have the eternal guidance. And with this piece, really, I wanted to really embody and talk a little bit about how the wisdom that we have inside of us is all thanks to our lineage, is all thanks to our ancestors, both in our physical versions of ourselves and also our soul's journey. Our soul has gone through so many reincarnations, and the amount of knowledge that it carries is so vast that our human self can only manage to touch a little aspect of it. But really, with this art piece, I really wanted it to be a reminder that we are eternally guided by our lineage, by our blood ancestors, and also our soul ancestors, who we can see, but we can definitely feel in our being. And this art piece was just a reminder of that, is that we are not alone. We are channeling and connecting to something that's a lot bigger than us, that is there with us always, inherently, and it is something that we can always lean on for support and seeking guidance, and never feeling afraid to reach out and just ask for help if you ever feel stuck for anything. Putting out that question out there into the ethers, and somehow the questions get answered. And that was really my intention behind creating this art piece, Eternal Guidance. With that, I will move on to my last art piece, which is called Beyond the Veil. So this art piece is really all about feeling and understanding there's so much more to things around us that we can't really see a lot of the times. Beyond the Veil is really tapping into the essence of the energies that surround us. And with this art piece, I really wanted to emphasize that there is so much more to our reality than what we see. There's only so much that our human selves can absorb and witness in our day to day. And just because we can't see something does not mean that they don't exist. So this art piece was really a way for me to create something as a reminder that we are constantly surrounded by energies that we can't see at all, but we can feel it if we tap into it. We can see it too if we tap into it, but it's just a reminder of that our world is so much bigger than what we think it is, and being respectful of our surroundings, of forest, of natural elements, because there is 100% something a lot bigger that's driving that to be that magnificent. And we should always be respecting it. That was my intention behind this art piece. All of these prints that I have created have been created with such deep intentions, and I also left a lot of room for interpretation, because all of us have such a different reality and we see the world so differently. I wanted it to resonate with you in your own way as well, and whatever this art piece is speaking to you is the medicine that you need. And really, that was my intention behind creating this series, as a way for you to connect to something that's a lot bigger than you, to feel more empowered. I have filled this series with so much love, so much good energy, and I hope whoever it goes to, it serves the purpose that it is on your wall for. Thank you for staying with me on this video. And all of these prints are live. You can check them out on the description below. Please do share, comment, and let me know how you feel about each of these art prints and what is your interpretation, because I would love to know. I love seeing how people interpret art pieces, because everyone has such a unique way of leading their life. But comment, subscribe, and stay tuned to see more.